Okay, hello everyone. Okay, I think we're just starting. We're just on time. We're going to give ourselves just probably less than a minute so people have a chance to join and we don't start too early. But I just wanted to start by saying thank you for everybody who's come and joined us live today. I know that there is the WEFTAF conference on if you're in North America. I think it's the last day today, but there probably will be people attending that and traveling. So I do appreciate everybody who has made the time to come today and to listen and hear a little bit about epanet-js and the work that myself and Sam have been doing. With that, I think we've got enough people in that we can start. Don't want to delay. Just a couple of housekeeping things to start with. So one will be that this session will be recorded. So if you want to view it again in the future or you want to share it with others, you can just come back to this address and it will be available. We'll also post it on YouTube as well and send it out through the usual methods, right? So you can view it again at any point. If you're joining us from somewhere very late, feel free to just drop a question and then go back to bed. You will be able to access it later. The other thing I want to point out is that we also have a couple of options for some interactivity in this session. So the first one is the chat. So please definitely feel free to write some comments and say hi and good morning. The other one is we have the Q&A. So at the end of the session, we'll be answering any type of question you want, about epanet.js, about our work, anything you like. If you put it in the Q&A section, it lines up for us and it makes it really easy for us to access. If you do put in the chat, we can upgrade them to questions. But yeah, please, any thoughts throughout the presentation, chuck them in the Q&A and we'll get towards them at the end. Okay. With that little bit of an agenda for today, we're going to be focusing on a couple of things. Really, the main things we want to do is the demo of the app, because I think that's probably the most exciting, and obviously the Q&A. But in between that, we want to talk about a couple other important things. We'll start with the state of hydraulic modeling in 2025. Where we are as an industry, and sort of lead into why we decided to build epanet.js. From there, straight into the demo, show some features, show what we've been working on. And then after that, we want to talk a little bit about the launch of the product, how that's gone for us, how the community is reacting. We also then want to talk about how supporting us supports epanet. We're an open source app. epanet is open source. We want to show how working together we can be for the net benefit of everyone in the community. Then we want to finish up on a roadmap. So talk about what we're working on now, what's next, what's on our radar, and then just talk about how where we see this all going, and finally the Q&A. We've booked about an hour for this session. Hopefully we can get it done sooner than that and give us lots of time for the Q&A. Everybody loves a meeting that finishes early, so we'll see if we can make that happen, but we'll definitely at least finish on time. With that, we can do some introductions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this down and then split us. Oh, perfect, there it goes. Okay, so you've got the two of us today. So I'm Luke Butler. I'm one of the co-founders of Iterating. I'm joined with Sam, the other co-founder. We'll both introduce ourselves. I'll start first. You're going to hear a lot from me. This will be one of my opportunities to have a little bit of a break. I'm a hydraulic engineer, hydraulic modeler. I've been doing it for about 15 years. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you've probably seen me talk a lot about hydraulic models, open source, all those type of things. I'm a real advocate for everything modeling. So my background is modeling. I'm a little bit of a programmer. Sam's really the technical guy who can do all the magic with that. And my background is focused on both the utility side, consulting, and software, and I've done it quite around the world. Originally from Australia, now in Toronto, have lived in the UK, but more lived pretty much everywhere. With that, I'll pass it on to Sam, give a bit of an introduction as well.
Thank you, Luke. Hi, everyone. I'm Sam, and I'm really glad you could join today. Let me introduce myself briefly. I've been working on software development for the last 12 years. I worked in different sectors, retail and fintech, among others. And for the last almost 6 years, I've been focused on building applications around water management and hydraulic modeling. As you can imagine, my main focus right now is developing new features for epanet.js, and so far it's great to to see people all around the world using the software we are building on a daily basis, and just cannot wait to build more and more enhancements. I'm very lucky and glad I joined Luke in this venue. We are very aligned on making this product open source and building a healthy community around it. And this is just the beginning. So yeah, hope this webinar goes well. Luke will be the main host. I'll be here for any additional context and questions that you may have. So thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Sam. Okay, Sam's going to hide away for a moment, but he'll be back up for the Q&A. Let me just move myself here so we get plenty of the presentation. Okay, now let's get to the fun part, talking about epanet-js. Okay, so epanet or EPANet, depending on where you're based. You'll probably know this picture, this application, and it's going to fill you with one of two feelings. Either it's going to fill you with a lot of joy, you love this application, you know it's got warts, but you love it regardless. It gets the job done, it means a lot for the community. Or you're the type of person who's filled with dread when they see this application, that it looks painful. It looks like it's something out of Windows 95. It can't have all those lovely features that you like GIS and other things as well. And epanet is the unfortunate. How would you describe it? It's unfortunate in the sense that it has an extremely capable and powerful hydraulic model engine without the best user interface available. And one of the things I'm sure a lot of people know, but not everyone is aware, that the majority of commercial modeling software is actually based on top of epanet. So the two large packages, at least in North America, WaterGems and InfoWater, are epanet derivatives. They use the epanet hydraulic modeling engine, which is very powerful, very capable, but they've added an extra layer of capabilities and features to make it usable for day-to-day modeling. So it ends up, like I said, unfortunate for epanet that it has such a powerful engine, but limited ability to use for, let's say, some large-scale hydraulic modeling. Now, if I was to put epanet on this little chart here, this little quadrant, right? So we have some axes. We have on the left-hand side features. Let's say it's the range of features that you've got. You've got powerful on one end and simple on the other, and then you've got cost, free and expensive. There's no doubt that epanet would belong in that bottom left-hand corner, right? It's free open source application, so to the left. And the feature set, while the hydraulic features are very powerful, the, let's say, hydraulic modeling platform features are relatively limited, right? You said like no GIS imports, no scenario management. It's quite bare bones in that piece. Now, if you look at the other side of the spectrum, so on the top right-hand corner, you have the, let's say, established vendors, right? These hydraulic modeling suites that have every feature that you could possibly want, right? Very, very powerful, very, very capable pieces of software. We've had them for decades. They do everything you need plus more, but they come at a price, and that price is about $10,000 US per user per year. But they, as an epanet user, you really only have one of these choices. I want to throw in a second axis in here on accessibility. So you can see now on the bottom we have ease of use and complexity. I would say that epanet is a relatively easy platform to use. You just get in there, draw, you do simulations. The complexity comes from its limitations and the workarounds that you've got. The established tools are complex. They are very big, powerful engineering tools with lots of options, lots of buttons. And it's not unheard of for, say if you're a senior modeler and you're moving from one package to the other, the first thing you'll do is spend a couple of days just training to learn how to use the software. You know hydraulics, but you need to learn how to use the software itself. And so it can create this problem where you're using expensive software that can be difficult to use, but like I said, it has everything that you need, so you don't really have a choice. So it seems at least obvious to me that if we were going to build a software, the place that you probably want it to be, at least for the modeling community, is somewhere in this left-hand quadrant, right? You want something that is easy to use, it's accessible, something that is affordable and powerful. And that's where we're trying to place epanet-js. We want to be able to build a tool that anyone can get in, do everything that they need to without being overwhelmed, and do it at a price point that makes sense. And we also want to be able to contribute back into epanet as well, right? We saw that epanet being an open source tool created a huge wave of innovation within our space. And we believe if you have that same open source core within the platform, it can create another boom of like innovation within the system too. So I think the most important thing to do is, let's just jump into a demo. I think that's the best way to show off a platform and see exactly what we've been working on. Let me just load it up here. Okay, there it is. If you want to use epanet-js, it's really easy. That's being browser-based and on the web, it is like very little to hold you back. You can just go to epanet-js.com. From here, you'll see our landing page. You can find out all about us. But the main thing you want to look for is this launch epanet-js, no login required. And you can click that, and you're going to get straight into the app. At the moment, I'm logged in, but you wouldn't even need a login to use the application. You can get in and start modeling without any restrictions at all. You get a couple of things by registering, but for most users, you can start and try it out and play around. I'm going to start with our demo network here. This is Drum Chapel based in the UK. You can see an interface that seems quite familiar to those who have used epanet. We can see the map, we can see junctions, pipes, we can see some panels over here. If we select things, we can see attributes, some tools. And if you want to make some modifications to this network, it's as simple as, like, say, picking the pipe, drawing some junctions. So I can just draw down here. If I hold down the control key, it will also just drop junctions as we need. And then, we can draw in here. If we want to break a pipe at any location, we just drop it in. And we can see how quickly we've been able to modify this network. This is a DMA area, so let's close this down. And now at this point, we can run this simulation as well. Run the simulation. We can see the simulation report is completed. We can see in the bottom that it was successful. If we click on any of the pipes now, we can see information on flows, on pressures, and that all just happens directly within your browser itself. Even these points here, we can see the pressures, and we have things like elevations. So as you actually draw out this network, we are doing things, so you're probably used to, the length being set automatically. But we also do the elevation as well, because that's the main component in calculating pressure. So if we click in this point here, we can see that it has calculated the elevation. The same if we drag it around, it will have updated the elevation from that point too. Once again, some handy tools to do some modifications too. This is a new one that we just released, the redraw feature. You can select that, draw it in, right? Just trying to make things super easy to work with. Now, the other thing that people have always wanted in epanet, undo, redo. So if you make a mistake, it's just a matter of coming up here or using Control Z, and you can undo and go back to exactly where you were before, right? Nice and easy, just the things that you expect. One other little feature that we've got that can also make it really helpful is you'll see all these little dots. These are actually customer points. So while you can go to a junction and assign a direct demand, you could say 1 liter a second, 2 liters a second. You can also have these customer points, which take the demand directly from the junctions themselves. So if we select this junction, we can see there are 9 customers connected to this location. We select it, you'll see they'll be highlighted on the map, and we'll see each of the consumptions for each of these customers. So this is in liters per day, which gets down to liters per second for the model, which then obviously makes the assigning of demands and then the traceability of your consumption with your model much easier. I'll show you in a moment how we can actually bring that in ourselves. A couple of other little things. We support a whole bunch of languages. So English and Spanish are our main languages, but we do also have some community languages like Portuguese, French, Dutch, and Japanese. And we are planning to bring more and more languages into the app too. Next thing, open source. So we've talked about this quite a bit. We make this accessible just from here. You can see the entire source code for the app. Everything is here. So if you wanted to download a copy and run your own version of epanet.js, that's possible. If you're a utility and you wanted to do things privately, that's also possible. You can install it. But one of the actual nice things about epanet.js is that while the application is running in a browser, everything is done locally. So there's actually no need for you to run the code yourself, because as we open up and save files, it's actually editing files on your local computer. Nothing goes in the cloud, no simulations, no nothing. And I'll touch on that point a little bit later in the presentation. The next thing I want to quickly show, import from GIS, another feature that many people have always wanted in their modeling tool, especially epanet. Here we go, okay, pick metric. Now we can drag in some GIS data. I'm just going to do a really small network just to sort of show, right? So I've dropped in some shape files. I'm going to do pipes. You could obviously bring in tanks and pumps and other things. Press next. We're going to assign some attributes here, ID, diameter, roughness. And you can see down here, we get a little preview. So we know that we're assigning the right values. And as we go, we scroll to the bottom, we can press build model. And this is going to go through and make that connectivity for us. It's going to connect all the pipes together, the junctions, calculate the elevations, and build a full model, right? So we can see this nice little model was built. At this stage, we don't have a tank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a satellite view in, and we can see the tank is just here. So I will add a reservoir. Well, why not? Let's add the tank. And then we will connect this in. And at this point, our simulation should be ready to run. We can run it here. You can see it's run successfully. We want to just double check things are okay. So we can go to the map and we can start visualizing pressures. We can actually see that something is minus 25, and that's here. And there should actually be a little booster pump station to bring up the pressure at that location. There are a lot of tools to change the way that we display data. You can obviously change things, change colors. We have color bands. We can put on labels. Lots and lots of options here for that, right? Same with the flows as well. You can say which way the flows are going. I'm just going to put these back. The only problem with this is we brought in the GIS. There's no demand, so it's not actually that useful at the moment. So to make it really easy, that's why we have the custom demands too. So we've brought in our model. We've checked everything's okay. We're going to press the import customer points button. And now we're going to bring in a points layer, some points GIS data. And we're going to select where the demand is. So this is the consumption for each of those customers. It's in liters per day or gallons per day, depending on your unit system. We can then say, okay, how do we want to assign that data? Or do we want to replace the existing demand of the network or just add it on top? For us, there is no demand, so we can just replace it. And now we're going to do the allocation rules. How do we connect those customers from to the pipes, to the junctions, right? And so here we have the allocation rules. It's saying, okay, connect to any pipe 300 millimeters, about 12 inch, within 100 meters. And you can see it's done 181 customer points with 5 that have not been connected. So we want to make sure everything's connected. We can edit those rules. Let's say, okay, we want to go 600 millimeters within 50 meters. We'll add another one and say, okay, up to 1,000 meters, and we'll save. It'll rerun those allocations and it will say 186 customers are connected. We can zoom in, we can see all those customer points are connected. If we go to any location, you can then see which customers are connected to which junctions through the pipes. Obviously, sometimes we've made a little mistake, so super easy to adjust. Yeah. And then we can select the customer points and allocate or reconnect, and you can bring them in. So it will automatically connect to the nearest point in the pipe. If we hold shift, we can connect anywhere. And then we put that in, and we can see the customers are in. And now if we run our model, and we check the flow here. So maybe I'll put this, put a label. We can see that there's flow now moving through the network as well. So we have very quickly, accurately built a model, brought in the demands, and we're able to run a simulation in just a short period of time. Now, obviously, this is a demo. I've picked GIS data that works, and that's sort of cheating, like that all vendors will do. We're actually working on a new set of features, which is called a network review, which will find things like orphan nodes, overshoots, undershoots, and just confirm your connectivity. So you should see that in the next few weeks. We'll start releasing those features so that as you build models, you'll be able to verify that they're working correctly. And that you can fix up some errors as well. One last thing that I want to demo is that obviously we showed you a small network, but one of the things we really pride ourselves is making this very, very scalable and working even with really large models. So if I start a new model, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in some GIS data. This is for the city of Auckland in New Zealand. This is some of their open data. This is about 220,000 pipes, right? So it's quite a decent sized network. We're going to build this network, get all the connectivity in one go. So we'll press next. We're just going to set the IDs. We'll leave everything else to default. And we'll press build. And you can see it's going through the process now. It's finding the junctions, it's connecting any links together, it's splitting any of those T intersections that were missing. It's going to do the elevations, it's going to do lengths, and build that full model. So it's just doing its elevations now, and it's finished. So discard changes here, and it's going to load a model that with about 220,000 pipes all interconnected as a hydraulic model. You see that? It's loaded, no problems at all. So even like accessing and browsing the model, we want that to be a super smooth experience, right? So like shouldn't be any lag. You should be able to come in and then make changes as you need, right? So if we come here, we can then change or drag. It's just nice and easy, right? So exactly what you want your model platform. Get in, do the models, get out. Okay, with that, that's the bit of the end of the demo. If you have any questions about anything that you've seen in here, now is a good time to jump in and put them in before you forget, except we can address all those questions towards the end. Now, I just want to go into detail on a couple of things that we put in there. Actually, the first thing was that this application, it's been live for about 3 months. So we've been working on it continuously from that period, a little bit longer than obviously 3 months. But the reception from the community has been really, really great. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll see lots of people commenting, resharing, liking. And I just wanted to bring up a couple of key things that people talked about. Like this is really the inspiring thing that helps us, me and Sam, get up each day and keep working. So even simple things like, oh, undo and redo an epanet is a dream, right? This is amazing. It has potential to be truly transformative. I probably picked any other word for that one to say. A couple other ones, like you solved a pretty complex problem in a very beautiful way. We need more open source projects in the hydraulic modeling community. This is exactly what the industry should be doing, right? So there's a lot of, I mean, if you're following this on social media, you'll see that there's this big drive. There's a lot of this feeling that this is something different, right? We've been working with the same tools for a long time, and now this is really changing the way things work. Like I said, we like to be really open. You know, it's open source. We like to talk about it. And one of the things we also want to share is how the actual application is going with users. We've had a really good launch, right? As you would expect when you first launch a product, you get this huge surge of people using the application. And within the first month, within July, we launched in July, you get this big hump that comes through, and then within a month you sort of plateau back down to where you should expect, and then you'll grow yourself up. You can see we were at about 65 users a day a couple months ago, and we're now getting about 114 people each day using our application, which is really, really great. If you look at weekly users, we have about 600. We've grown that from about 350 a couple months ago. So 600 people a week. This is unique people using the application. And then per month, we have about 1,800 people using the application every month, using epanet to do the hydraulic modeling. Once again, the launch month was amazing. We had a lot of people doing drive-by checks, so we had over 3,000. But yeah, having 1,800 people use an open source app that me and Sam are developing it's a really great feeling to see just how many people are enjoying using it. A couple other things. I mentioned this idea of local first. I didn't actually show saving a file, but if you did save a file in epanet-js, it saves it as an IMP on your computer, right? So it's all local. And the way that works is, while you're probably used to most things being in your browser being what we'd say cloud-based things being saved in the cloud, that's not the case with epanet-js. For us, when you load the application from the cloud or the servers, you get sent the application, and it's then on your browser. Actually, from that point, you could turn off your internet and the application would still work, with the proviso that obviously elevations and the base mass would turn off, but the drawing, the editing, the saving, the running simulations would all work without problems, because the application is fully on your computer at that point, and you're working with local model files on your computer. That means we never actually have access to your networks or private information. It's all on your own computer. That means that if you want to share this with others, you're in total control of how this happens. It can be, by emails, through a network drive, USB, however you want, right? There's nothing that goes back up to the cloud at all. Like total security is based off whatever requirements you need. Saying that, we do know that some people see some benefit in the cloud, and we especially when it comes to collaboration or working together. So we will launch a cloud optional version in the future. and in the sense that we will always be local first. That will be the default state, and you will opt into the cloud if you want and if you see a benefit from that. And while we will provide our own cloud to make it easy for others, we will also have options for enterprise users and like those who have bigger needs to even put them in their own cloud systems as well, right? We really want those users to have that freedom to choose what they do with their own data, right? It doesn't have to be forced to be through us. The other thing we mentioned was this idea of open source. Some people are sometimes surprised to find out that me and Sam are working on this full time. This is our full-time job. That's what we do. And the question is, how do you make this sustainable? How do you actually get this going as a business? Well, it all starts with you, the users, using the application. So use the application, you enjoy it, you like it. There are some features and services that we will make paid. And so some users will decide to use those advanced features. We'll talk about some of those, but they'll be mostly around professional services in the support, not professional services, but support in the use of the app. And then also some advanced features like the cloud storage or scenario management. Obviously, if those users pay for the application, we can then survive and keep reinvesting and improving the app. Not just the user interface, but also the engine as well. We want to be able to invest that anything that we get from this application both into the core for everyone's benefit. And then, of course, as the application improves, more people use the app, and we get this nice cycle that we call sustainable open source. Now, maybe you will realize there could be a problem that if we give away all the source code, how can you make that, let's say, sustainable? How do you know someone else is just going to jump and grab it? Or maybe the first thing you're thinking is, oh, it's great, it's open source. Maybe I'm just going to put this on my own application and sell it. There is some restrictions on the open source, let's say temporarily. So we release it under a special open source license called the functional software license. And it has restrictions on what they call free riding, and the use in competing software. So you can't just pick up our software and resell it. You can't just put it into another package and sell it. The license restricts that use to allow us to continue having, like I said, a sustainable open source future. But we do know that being fully open source is the only way that we can truly make have that innovation within the industry. So each time we write code, the FSL has a 2-year timer that starts with the code converting into the MIT license. So the MIT is a very popular, very permissive open source license. So each time we write a commit, we commit some more code. The 2-year period starts on those lines of code. So that gives us a 2-year head start to keep innovating, keep building. But say if we get bored or we finish the app, it only takes 2 years for it to become fully open source and then unlock all that innovation within the industry for others to either build on or extend as they need. Now, let's say the sustainable side and the pricing. So everything you just saw in the demo is totally free. So no limits on size. You can have as big of a model as you want. You can use it for commercial use. It's all there, open and free for you to use. The one biggest limitation is the support that comes with it. Soon we're going to launch a community forum where you can get feedback, but you can't email us directly with problems. If you want to email us with support issues, you need to be a paying user. And the first tier that we have is the professional user, which is a named individual license, which gives you professional support. And then soon we'll have scenario management and cloud storage. We will also include under this tier. We've priced that at $950 per year per user. Of course, being open source, you could also just launch your own copy and enable these features for yourself. That's also possible. But at $950 a year, I don't know if it would be worth everyone's while, but it is that option there if you desire. The next thing that we have is the Teams plan. We've actually just launched this Teams plan this week. So you'll be able to actually subscribe to this now. What that gives you is a floating license. So you can purchase a bulk set of licenses that you can share between your team. It gives you priority support and soon team storage as well that you can share between them, right? So this is just launched. So you should be able to see this week a way to actually subscribe to that directly as well. 2 other options that we also have. We also have a couple options for non-commercial use. So one for personal use. So if you are just a really big fan and you want to try out some things, you want to learn, you can purchase the personal version, which gives you everything for professional for $100 a year. It has a proviso that there's no commercial use and it's community support. And a lot of people are either using it for trialing the application or just generally supporting us. And thank you for everybody who does use the app and pays and supports us. And the next one is the educational license as well. So you get anyone who has a university or education email address automatically gets upgraded to the equivalent of the professional version, but just with a restriction on no support. And this is all automatic. You don't have to do anything special. If you just register with your university college email address, we have a database of something like 25,000 educational institutes around the world, and you'll automatically be upgraded. You'll see your little edu tag on your avatar in the top corner. With that, the last thing that I want to show is our roadmap. So as you can imagine, we have a lot of things still to do. I'm sure there'll be lots of questions on things that we have. I think we must have like at least a year or two worth of work ahead of us. And actually, a lot of the emails I've gotten for the last 2 or 3 months have been, can you add this? And lots of features requests. So what we decided to launch this month was our roadmap. Actually, I'm just going to throw up a link for everybody here. Okay, in the bottom of the screen, you should see the Open the epanet-js roadmap. If you click that, it will open up a new screen. You'll see this screen here. In here, you can see our roadmap. You can see everything that we've recently completed, what we're working on, and what we have planned in the near future, right? So as I mentioned, this network review is something that we said we would work on very soon. And then here are some of the things that we are actively going to work within, like, say, the next month or two. You can go into any of these, see some statuses of when we're starting to work, a description. If you log in with your epanet.js login, you can leave comments, you can vote on them. And then once you've contributed to this, you'll actually get notifications as we release features. So you can see the full list of all the things that we think we're going to be doing in feedback here. You can see sort of different features, right? User elevations was something that a lot of people have asked for, like being able to load their own DTMs. So like I said, if this is important to you, you could upload it, put a comment. And of course, you can also search. So that probably the most popular thing that everybody else, extended period simulation, definitely be voting this one up and leaving a comment if you want to know when that is available. And finally, the user feature requests. So you can also put your own things in here, right? So if you have something that we don't have on this board that you would like to for us to consider, you can put it in the description, share some information, and that gets sent to us. And it also gets sent to the entire community so that everybody can, also vote on it. And I think this is a really great way to work collaboratively together to understand, okay, what does the community want? What does we want together as this tool to build epanet.js and how to build it out, right? So definitely check this out, log in, give some comments, and track the roadmap and feedback. Okay, with that, I think I've left ourselves plenty of time for questions. Let me just fiddle with a couple of things and get Sam back up here. And then I'll put myself over here. Okay,
we have lots of questions, look.
We've got lots of questions? Oh yeah, it says 10 plus. Oh my, okay, here we go. So let's see, we're gonna start going down. Let me just drink a glass of water and then I'll give us a sec. Definitely, yeah, start asking questions. We're gonna try to get through them. We have the 30 minutes, so I think we should be good. Just 2 seconds. Okay, you can also vote questions too. So if you see a set of questions in there or something you want, vote it and then it will bring it to the top and we'll try to work through them. Okay, so the first question. What elevation base does the program use? Where does the elevation for the nodes come from? So the elevation comes from our mapping provider is Mapbox, and they have a digital terrain model, a global digital terrain model. We can probably share which one that is. I don't know off the top of my head. Sam, I don't know if you want to try search for it. Maybe we can load it up. But it depends on where in the world you are. I find in North America, quite accurate because there's lots of good public data sources on elevation. In other parts of the world, I'm not sure. I would say it's always recommended that you go through and double check, but it's definitely good enough for most cases that I've seen. But yeah, we'll see if we can find that the source of it. But yes, it is based out from Mapbox. Yes, maybe we'll throw in the comment in there. Sam, we can put a comment into the link to that source as well. And I saw there was a comment added below. Is it possible to add your own elevation layer? Yeah, really great question. In here, let me see if I can find it. Elevation. User elevation data. So this is something that we've also identified as a potential thing to add. Loading in your own digital train models and service elevation. So if this is important to you, please vote or put a comment in here for that. Okay, let's jump on to the next question. Are there scenario options? Yes, this one gets asked a lot. It is in the roadmap as, I think, quite a high thing, right? It's up here. So we don't have scenarios at the moment, but we will be building them. And specifically, we'll do this sort of the tree-based approach, right? So you have your base model. You can then branch down, make some changes, and then it will come through and you can override data. So sort of what you're used to in the other tools. So we know scenario management is very important for managing large models and then looking at alternatives. So we don't have that yet. We will bring that in. Once again, if that is important to you, definitely throw a vote up here and also leave a comment. Okay, time answering. Let's see what's next. Okay, next one. Oh, yes, here we go. If a utility builds a water model with this tool, who owns the data? How is the data protected from the data breach? I know this was asked actually earlier, so hopefully the slides that I showed sort of made this clear. All the data is on your own computer. You have total control over it. When we have the cloud-based version, we'll obviously have the right security in there, but we'll also have the option to load it onto your own cloud as well. But the security of your model is totally in your hands because we can't even access it. And you don't just have to take our word for it. You can also look at the source code and check it out for yourself, and you'll see exactly what we can and can't do. Okay, done. Okay, here we go. Next one. Okay, how was the Ethernet engine ported to the browser? Was it rewritten in JS by hand? Our new versions or upstream improvements and will be synced? Okay, so quite a bit of a technical question. But epanet-js, sorry, this is going to be technical. We took the code that was originally written for the desktop and compiled it into a version that works in the browser. So it's this thing called WebAssembly that allows us to access the hydraulic engine and to run it. Actually, and that is fully open source as well. So if we go to, oops, apology, let me go here. epanet-js, if you go to the toolkit, this is this toolkit that allows you to actually, if you wanted to make your own application, web-based application that runs simulations, we actually published the full library here so that you could, if you're a programmer, you could set this up yourself. To answer the question about porting, we are going to try to stay, but we're not going to do a fork. We're going to stay on the Open Water Analytics Ethernet version. And then we're also going to contribute back into the source code and then try to run the latest releases so we all get the same benefits. Okay, start answering. Yeah. So at the moment, we're using Ethernet 2.2. We don't actually have any extra features of 2.3. We will do a release of Ethernet 2.3 in epanet-js very soon. And actually, we're going to make it track to the latest commit so that there can be a bit of a delay with Ethernet where when they, a couple of years between releases, we want to be, as the code is developed, getting those benefits to the end users. So we're at 2.2, we'll be to 2.3 very soon, and then we'll be contributing to the engine and improving as we go. Okay, I'm going to give one to Sam just to give my voice a break. I'm going to give that, is the documentation available? And I'll let you answer this one. Don't forget to unmute yourself.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Yeah, we have a help center. If you go to,
Yeah, but let me.
I'll
Oh,
share it in the comments, or you have it there. Okay, yeah, the help center is there, and you should find documented all the different components of the application. But at the same time, Luke has developed these great getting started documents where you can just follow examples of drawing a network or doing some common operations with epanet-js. So it should be enough. As always, this is under improvement, and new features will make all features outdated, but we are in constantly reviewing it and trying to get it better.
yeah, this is definitely a good place to start. The other thing we're adding is some worked examples. This one's a little outdated, but we will improve it. But we're going to build some real networks. So we'll get some OpenGIS data and actually provide tutorials for you to follow so that you can build real networks and learn both how the hydraulics works and also the software at the same time. Okay. Okay, another one, quick one. Questions about the comments. We do not have much control on it. Yes, unfortunately, everything is a bit of a compromise when you're building an application. At the moment, the pump curves themselves, you really only have the 1 point pump curve, right? So you can choose the design flow and design head. If you bring in something with a 3 point, we will simplify it down to 1 point. We do also know that's something that we need to improve, so you can define curves and everything else. Once again, I believe we have pump, define pump curves, and a whole bunch of curve management as well, right? So, oh yeah, someone's already jumped in and said it's an important feature, right? So we will definitely make sure that that is added. But yes, you have some options. It's just not everything yet. Okay, answering. Okay, so does epanet-js have the capability to generate profiles for visualizing hydraulic grade line pressure and velocity? So not yet. Once again, I could jump back into the roadmap, but one of the things we do also want to add is the graphing ability, right? So you can um, if you're specifically talking about the hydraulic grade line, the side view, the profile, yeah, we will set up so you could eventually look and see the head loss against the elevation. If it's important to it in. The thing that we have at the moment is just because it's just steady state, you can make you can just visualize this information, right? So you can see flows and pressures and things like that, or like head. You can label them, but yeah, you can't plot it on a profile view just yet. Okay. Next question. Can we import an existing epanet model into epanet.js? And similarly, can we export an epanet model that has been built in epanet? Yes, yes, definitely. We are just using .inp files. So if you export it out, you can put it into another commercial tool, another sort of analysis. We have quite a few people who do that. They will either they'll export it from another piece of software as IMP and bring it in, or they'll build a model from GIS and then use it somewhere else. Yeah, definitely possible. The one thing that I will say is that it needs to be in latitude and longitudes. So if you try to bring in something that is XY coordinates, it will ask you to reproject it. It will take you to a website to do that reprojection. And maybe we'll make sure we have something in the help center, or we'll put some comment below here to how to do that. But if you drag it in, it will give you a warning saying that you need to reproject it. Next question. Yes, does epanet.js have Fireflow analysis at this point? So you can obviously do like individual Fireflow analysis. You can, I know this is not directly what you're asking. I mean, in a sense, you could go to any location, add direct demand, and say, okay, what happens when I add 20 liters a second and run the simulation? The same you could do the available Fireflow by doing the like emitter or the reservoir trick to find out what the available flow is. But what you're probably asking about is the Fireflow analysis, the automated Fireflow analysis, which is something that we've have also identified as needed early. So we will also build that tool where it can go through and do a bulk calculation of all your hydrants and say what the capacity and availability of Fireflow is. So you'll see that hopefully coming up soon. Okay, done answering. Boy, so many questions. We'll get through these. Give me a second. Um, I I did see this question. I won't go into too much detail here, like before, about being in coding and development tools. Maybe I think this will be a good like post for LinkedIn. We use also we don't we use a decent amount of artificial intelligence to help develop the app. I think it's a really great point to be able to learn how to build these type of tools. I'll post something on LinkedIn. I think that's a good way to sort of answer this question and get how to get get started doing software development as well if you're in the hydraulic welding space. Okay. And next question, is there a way to offset node elevations by depth of barrier as you draw them in? No, not yet. This is an interesting one, and it's something that's not on the roadmap. So I would highly recommend you go and put something in the roadmap about this. There's a question as, and maybe we can open up a big can of worms and a big debate. Does it matter if you drop a pipe 1 or 2 meters? Maybe if you're doing fire flow, like in North America, it could do. I mean, I guess you could do an offset. It's always this balancing act of adding more things and complications. Like, does it make a big difference? But I'm really willing to start a big fight of modelers in our feedback section. So definitely add that in, and then we can just discuss the merits of it or not. This one, GIS formats. Okay, Sam, one for you. Just so I can have, once again, a break from chatting. What GIS formats can it read?
Yep.
Don't forget to.
Yeah. Today you can import using GeoJSON, which is a common GIS format. And the other one that we support also is the shapefile that I bet you, if you know GIS, you are familiar with it also. Maybe in the future we extend support for others, but I'll let Luke say that you can point to the roadmap if you need any new format.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yes, so far you have these two formats, and the model build tool will guide you in the process of building a model from them.
Yeah. I believe the other one that's commonly asked is CAD format. So that is definitely in the roadmap. If there's a format that you want to use that we haven't listed, definitely add that in the roadmap so we know. But shapefile should get you most of the way, even though shapefile is awful, but it is quite widely used and it is accepted. Next question. Are you planning on adding a track function to check connectivity based on specific boundary nodes? Yes. There's a couple of tools we're going to be adding around this. Once again, I think these are in the roadmap too. If I can find it, trace. Yeah, boundary trace and network trace. So boundary trace will pick a junction, choose the bounding things like PRBs or pumps or closed valves or whatever, and we'll trace out an area, and we'll also have selection lists. And the other one is network tracing tools. So like, pick everything upstream or pick everything downstream. So we know these are also important. I don't think they're in the direct roadmap now, but we have identified them as being needed. Okay, done answering.
I can do the next one if you want, Luke.
Yes, I think this is a good one for you.
Yeah, we test and develop mostly with Chromium, Chromium browser. So that will make that's the browser that for sure the features that we release we expect them to work. Nowadays, Firefox and Chromium don't have as big differences, so it should work. And it isn't in the question, but I'll take the chance that although there is a mobile, it scales for mobile. The application is thought for being used in a desktop because you will find the mobile phone, you can see the application and touch things, but we don't expect the Dali modeling happening in a mobile phone. So if you could choose, I would say go stick to Chrome or Chromium, and in a desktop or laptop.
Perfect. Okay. Next one, nice and easy. Are the demo simulation running in steady state mode? Yes, and the whole application at this stage is steady state, so it's just that single time step. That's probably our most popular and asked for feature is the extended period simulation. So we expect that's probably going to rise right to the top on our roadmap. There's obviously quite a few things that you need to do to get extended period simulations working. Like you need patterns, controls. There's obviously a lot more interesting like memory constraints and issues that we need to work with. So we're trying to make sure we have a very functional and working application in steady state mode, and then we will move ourselves into extended period simulation. I would suspect probably early next year or sometime then we will start really trying to tackle it. I think the short term we're still going to be doing scenarios and a few other things. But yeah, we know it's something that's very important for the community. Sam, I don't know if you want to jump on this one first as well.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Yeah.
We are trying all the features with big networks. We want to have a smooth experience with what we consider big networks. We are trying with normally my common tests are around 1,000 50,000 pipes and 500,000 customer points. So more or less that's the amount the application smoothly handles. We stressed it a bit more and start to find different things. And currently there isn't a limit on the amount that you can import by pricing tiers or whatever. We will see in the future if it stresses too much how we prioritize things, or if it impacts a lot our systems. But right now there is no limit on the amount of on the assets that you can import. But
Yeah,
happy to hear your limit.
yeah. Like if you're having problems with a really big model, let us know. I think, yeah, we have done models up to 300, 400,000. It starts to break down once you start going past there. And maybe there's more questions around why is your model so big and is it efficient at that point? There's also some interesting technical challenges in the browser working with memory that we can optimize. But yeah, we know that we always stress test for large networks, but we're really, because of the limitations and the tools we have, we're probably more applicable to small scale models anyway. But we will want to have a really great experience. You even saw with that other network with like 200,000 plus pipes. Can we graph pressure and flows in epanet-js? No, not at the moment, and probably not until we have extended period simulation, right? At the moment, because there's just a single snapshot, probably doing the graphs doesn't make sense except for maybe the side profiles. But yeah, definitely that's like another thing, add extended period simulations, but then you also need graphs. So yes, definitely we'll have graphing when we get to extended period simulation. Are you planning on scenario comparison? And what about pressure-driven demand? So yes, yeah, definitely. We'll first we've got to do the scenarios, and yes, a big part of that will be doing the comparisons between them, right? Like, you try to make an engineering assessment, you need to be able to see the difference between two options. So the comparison is a very important piece that we will also include. Okay, who wants to talk about swim? Okay, this is probably the other favorite question. I, I would say yes, it is probably on the wider roadmap. There's obviously other interesting challenges in swim. That it's like obviously much more complex. The simulations are much longer. Water networks are relatively easy to model. But we believe for the best success, we should be focused on just doing one thing and doing really, really well. And so we'll do that with epanet.js. But as you probably know, there's a lot of overlap between them, at least from the the interface and the way that you interact with them. And so it would make a logical conclusion to move into Swim. And so we will say quite confidently, yes, once we've done enough in epanet, Swim is the next natural progression. Probably the biggest challenge with doing Swim is I have never run a drainage model in my life. So we would need some very capable people to help us understand that need as well, which is also a strong reason why we're sticking to the distribution networks. Maybe this is a good one for you, Sam.
To edit the bar properties or adding demands. And not yet. Right now we can. You can. Sorry, I'll go one step at a time. Now, right now editions can happen one asset at a time, so you can edit the assets from the by selecting an asset and from the right panel. It is true that we do have a demand scaling option that you can use to simulate the minimum, average, or maximum day for moment of the demand for a day. Bulk operations and templates, but you can have this information of the aggregate in the when you select the right panel will show aggregates for the asset. We know it's not optimal, and we will work towards making better selections and better editions of bulk editions with other solution than this. But right now, this is what's in place.
Yeah, so I'm just quickly showing here that if you do select all, so Control A, you can see some summary information as well. So if you wanted to see the length of the pipe, you can see, okay, the sum, min, max, average. If you go pressures, you can see that too. So, but yeah, you can't edit them at this point. We just have a couple minutes. Thank you for everybody who stayed all the way through the end. We'll just answer these last couple before we finish up. What frictionless methods are covered? So it's just the standard ones for epanet at the moment. So you have Hazen Williams, Darcy Weisbanger, and Chisholm Mannings. So I assume you're saying the modifier. Oh, modified Hazen Williams. Is that the one that's used in India? I'm not sure. Definitely put it in the roadmap. We can look into it. It's going to be whatever is in the core of epanet, though. But yeah, interested to hear about that. So feel free to put that in the roadmap as well. And the last question, we'll just get ourselves in time. Yeah, is it popular to use epanet in Canada, and when will we use it? So I would say through association that's popular. So probably using epanet directly is not super common, but the most popular package both in the US and Canada is infra water and water jams, and those are epanet derivatives. So by extension, it is used quite extensively. I know in Europe, in some places like Australia, they also have alternatives like InfoWorks WS Pro, which uses a different engine, which isn't epanet based, but fundamentally the algorithm is the same, and at the end of the day, physics is physics. So you will always get the same answers. With that, I think we just finished great on time. One thing I want to point out is our little call to action. So I'm going to switch the button down the bottom. Definitely try out epanet.js. If one thing I can ask you is to try it, sign up, put some comments in the roadmap. It'd be super helpful. And I just wanted to then just end on a thank you as well. Sam, I think you will feel the same as well. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We'll close it up and we'll post this very soon. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Bye.